Welcome back to another video, guys. My name is Andrew Moore, and today we're filming episode number 3 of Cash Flow. So in previous episodes, we've been out to both Ballarat and Traralgon. Today we're back in Traralgon, but instead of looking for a client, we're looking for a property for my portfolio. With everything that's happening with coronavirus, where there's no open for inspections, so we've teed up 4 private inspections with real estate agents to go and look at a number of different properties in different pockets of Traralgon.
The first property that we saw was Murphy Crescent. Now the property needed quite a bit of work. It needed painting inside, needed new light fixtures, new benches in the kitchen, new floors in the kitchen, new floors in the laundry, repainting of the tiles, epoxy in the bath, a new vanity in the bathroom, and a new toilet. On the plus side, the property had not only a garage but also a carport with a roller door, so there was plenty of space for the tenants to keep all of their things. The asking price for the property was $210,000 and it was currently rented for $250 a week. The agent suggested if we did some of the renovations that we were considering doing, the property would be able to rent for $280 per week.
So we just finished up at the first inspection, and Peter, the real estate agent, was really good. He was really honest with us and was actually telling us where the better pockets in the suburb are, where we're going to get a better tenant. He also pointed out that some areas in the suburb you'll pay more for a property because it's a better pocket, but you won't get any extra in rent or not enough to justify the higher price. So that's really helpful when we're shopping on rental yield here. We're now heading off to the second property, which is in Dyer Court. So we'll pick up once we've seen that one.
Dyer Court was a brick property on a large block. Inside we found that the current owner had already redone the floorboards, painted throughout, put a kitchen in probably about 10 years ago, and all the bathroom needed was a vanity. Once we looked outside, of course, there was a school over the back fence, which was very evident from the photos online. The price for this property was $185,000 and the property was currently rented until November for $215 a week. When speaking with the agent, he pointed out that the pocket that the property was located in was an old commission housing area. This explained the lower rent for a property that was, for all intensive purposes, in better condition. Of course, with our plan being to do some work to the property to try and increase the rents, and having had the owner already done a lot of that work, we didn't see much potential with this property. Now, our strategy with this property is to find a property at the lower end of the market that's still currently rented for a decent price. That way we're getting cash flow straight away from day one, but our ultimate plan is actually to spend a little bit of money fixing the property up. That way next time it has to be rented out, even if we're not getting a dramatic amount more in rent, we will get multiple applications for rent, so that way we can get a better quality tenant. We can also then get the bank to revalue the property, hopefully much higher than what we purchased the property for, allowing us to access more funds for extra properties. Now, when we say fix a few things up, we're actually talking about just getting in there ourselves next time the tenant moves out, painting throughout ourselves rather than paying a tradesperson to do this, fixing up a kitchen if we need to do a kitchen, replacing vanities in the bathroom, anything that we can do just to cosmetically improve the property and hopefully get a better bank valuation next time we have it valued. Third property was Neumann Crescent, which was an original condition shadow line property, essentially meaning an asbestos property. The property had a strange green colour on both the eaves and the base of the property, which would be easy enough to change to something more modern like this. The kitchen was very original and we could replace this easily. Some of the updates we were considering doing were floorboards throughout, re-epoxy the bath because some of the blue from the original bath was actually showing through, and repaint the external. All 4 of the agents that we spoke to on the day pointed out that both this property and the next property were in a better area than the first 2 properties that we looked at. The benefit with this property, of course, was it was on a corner block, which means later in the future, if we wanted to build a separate unit on the back, we could do that and it would have its own street access. 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 living area, with a price of $172,000 and currently rented at $230 a week. As you can see, the property had already been re-stumped with concrete stumps.
So we're at the 4th and final property. At the moment, Ciara is inside with the real estate agent. I can't go in because it's coronavirus and we need to go in one at a time. So I thought I'd just show you guys the outside. And this one seems to be a cladding as well. I thought it was weatherboard originally, but it's just cladding that's cut in the same shape as weatherboard. So this one actually has a unique proposition because it's perfectly on the corner. As you can see, I'm on the corner of 2 streets. Forgive the hair, it goes everywhere. You guys know this, you've been watching for a while. The last one we looked at that was on Neumann Street, which is just up the other side of the street, is also a corner block. However, the house, back when they built these properties, was built sideways basically to get a lot of natural light, which was great back then. But when you've got a corner block, so that's the roof of the house that we're looking at now. I've walked up the street and this is the side entrance. As you can see, all of this is clear if you wanted to put in another unit in the back. So this one's got some prospects that the other two brick homes that we saw earlier didn't have. The one disadvantage this house has is it doesn't have any robes, so I'd need to build robes, but the rooms are big enough that I can do that.
So what ended up happening? We looked at 4 properties, and to tell you the truth, we didn't really have a favourite. There were pros and cons to every property. We liked the fact that the first 2 properties were brick rather than asbestos properties. However, because we're not going to do any major renovations and both properties had already been re-stumped, we figured the asbestos doesn't really matter that much. In the area that we live in, most people would avoid an asbestos property, but because there's so many in this pocket of Traralgon, they seem to transact perfectly fine. Also, additionally, with the first brick property at Crescent, we weren't able to subdivide that in the future if there was capital growth. And Dyer Court had the school behind it, which we believe is one of the reasons why the rent was much lower, because that would be quite off-putting to a tenant, especially in these areas where a lot of the tenants don't work and they are the lower socio-economical areas. The tenants often home during the day, and having the school bell ringing twice a day, 3 times a day actually, 4 times a day? I just asked my girlfriend Ciara, who's a school teacher, and she just said it's 6 bells. Could be quite annoying and cause vacancy, or at least less tenants applying to rent the property. The 2 asbestos properties, however, were in better locations and also corner blocks, like I mentioned. So there is the aspect of easily developing those properties in the future because we've got access to the side street. This means no common property, which also means that the properties generally sell for more in the future, but also it's easy to rent them out. So what did we actually do? At this point in time, we have offered 150 on Neumann Crescent. In the event the owners aren't willing to come down from their 172,000, we will simply move on to the next property and offer again lower on the next one until eventually someone wants to sell the property. We'll keep you up to date in future videos as to which one we end up buying, but for now, we're thinking it might be Neumann. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, it really helps out. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you on the next video.